Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Hinches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Monday, October 27th. We're going to look at the market like we usually do. We've only got one day of action, and then we're going to look at four stocks tonight: Pandora, YELP, YAHOO, and Yandex. We're on a 2-week rotation of stocks. And then I'm going to check in on Twitter and First Solar, which were trade ideas that we had, and we'll talk about those here real quick. All right. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down or up 12 points today. It was down most early on anyway. It kept trying to go down. It was coming back. It was kind of bouncing around a little bit and stayed pretty close to neutral most of the day, I think. I don't remember the exact, I don't have a daily chart up in front of me. But anyway, up 12.5 points. Really, this looks like kind of a pause. And I think what the market's doing right now, if I had to guess, is that it's kind of waiting on the Fed. Now, the Fed meeting starts tomorrow and then ends on, it's like a day and a half meeting, and it ends midday on Wednesday. So 1 o'clock Central Time, which is my time, they'll have an announcement out about what they're doing. Are they changing their schedule? Are they not? My own gut feel is that I don't see them altering their plans on what they're doing, but you never know, and that's why the market's just sitting back and waiting. So we will find out. The S&P, let me go back to that again. We're still hugging this trend line in here. I talked about I put that post out about kiss. Is this the kiss goodbye? We're still hugging this trend line. So we'll see. Whether or not we tighten up and have an even more compressed day tomorrow or not. S&P 500, similar type thing. It's bouncing up here to this trend line. Actually, I don't need I'll just leave the Fibonacci retracement in here. So you can see that the Fibonacci is up a little bit over the 70.7% retracement. The next threshold. But see, here's this trend line. And where is this trend line for? It's the one from April. Okay, April, August lows, got this trend line in here. Kind of an intermediate trend line. So we'll have to see, does it, does that provide some kind of resistance or not? The New York Composite, it's bouncing up. It's almost like every one of these indices have their own trend lines that they're bouncing up to, that are slightly different. Now, the New York Composite's bouncing up again. I talked about this on Saturday. This is the one from March 2009. So this is the entire bull rally here, bull market rally, and it's pulling back up. Looks like potential resistance seems to be holding. It didn't get through it today, and it has a little doji bar in here today. The next one we're going to take a look at is the NASDAQ, and it also is pulling up to a trend line. And this is the bottom of a channel. Okay, so this channel goes back to 2012, and of course we broke down through out of that channel in September. Now, granted, this hasn't been as strong to the downside. Get rid of this. As strong to the downside as the Dow, the S&P, New York Composite, because they've all taken out this. Well, I guess it was the August low we took out, and some of them have taken out the. I think the New York Composite took out the 8. Well, yeah, for sure. I just sometimes I don't remember. It's the February low that they haven't taken out yet, or the New York Composite hasn't taken out yet. So, the NASDAQ is it's not that weak. It's not as weak as the New York Composite and the Russell 2000. But look where it's bounced back up to. Okay, so let me blow that back up. So we're right up to this trend line. So I find that kind of fascinating that we've got the Dow hugging a trend line, the S&P 500 at a trend line, the New York Composite at a trend line, the NASDAQ at a trend line. The only one I don't see bouncing up to a trend line is the Russell 2000. And of course, the Russell 2000 action took out the lows of the last year or more. And so we've bounced back. Honestly, I don't know what this is really doing other than a large top in here, but we've pulled back up above what I would have thought would have been resistance once it broke down through here. So we haven't gotten a continuation down to the downside. So I don't know. I mean, here's this large trend line from the March 2009. All right, short-term trading index. It's just hanging in the middle, not telling us anything different, anything new. The VIX is kind of interesting today. So we pulled up, started to rally a little bit, got up, a high of 1787, pulled back down, and basically closed down 0.07, so almost unchanged. What I find fascinating is this little formation that it's doing on the RSI. Years ago, I started finding this little formation like this, and I called it a high heel or the silver slipper, and it's kind of, everybody finds their own little things, and you could make this like, it looks like almost like a shoe, like a high heel shoe or a boot, and it was one of those things that when I saw this formation, a lot of times this launched another move to the upside. And so if you go back and say, well, okay, do we see very many of those? Not too many. I went back and circled a couple, but again, nothing's ever the same, but you can see how you get these. And again, they're a little bit different. And I've found that the ones that are a little more rounded, like what we're getting right now, end up having a stronger move. So I'm really curious to see if that plays out. So I'll be watching that. We still have DI plus above DI minus, and which is, for the VIX, that means the VIX is in positive mode still from that standpoint. Okay, the next thing we want to take a look at is the high-low. High-low's pulled down a little bit in here. We'll just, have to continue. It's not really telling me a whole lot more other than we got the moving averages crossed. Well, we got those to cross back here in August too. And I noticed that after the cross, there was like 11 days to the highest peak. And I think we're 6 days too into this. Of course, I'm thinking, because of the action that I'm seeing on the Dow, that I'm thinking that this is a bear market rally, that this is a pullback, and that we are getting ready to roll over. But we'll see. That's what I'm expecting. All right, let's jump in. We're going to take a look at Pandora first. Pandora, it got hit really, really hard on Friday. And again, I was in it. We got out. It rallied, and then it broke. And so here's Pandora's counter trend rally. Okay, it didn't even give you a chance to get back in. They just smashed it. So now, the next support I see on this is down here where I thought it might go originally, and once it broke this support in here, I thought it would go down around 18. And it may still get there because of the action today. I mean, today it was down 0.69 and continued the sell off. So if we're doing a WXY type of correction, and I don't know that that's what it is, then Y will be equal to W. I mean, we may get to where this is 1, 2, and we've got a 3 working. But let's just, for grins, look at this and say, okay, well, here's W, and here's the end of X. Well, Y is all the way down here. I don't know if it's going to get that far down, but I mean, one step at a time, one support level at a time. The next one we're going to take a look at is YELP, and of course they hit YELP. And YELP got, what was this? This was Thursday, I think. Okay. So again, counter trend rally, you don't get a chance to get back in, and they smashed it. So, this is why when I look at, and people's like, oh no, the correction's over. I've got my doubts. I really do. And I, looking at the wave count on the Dow and that type of thing, just because you get a little bounce doesn't mean the correction is over. And bear market rallies are much more vicious, hard and fast than normal bull market rallies are. So right now on this, again, there's no specific play I'd be looking for. Sure, we're getting a little bit of divergence, I think, in here, but it's not anything I would step in on. Again, it's like trying to catch a falling knife. Now this this is not showing divergence on the DI minus. It's not really showing divergence on the demand index either. So this could be heading for continued lows, further lows also. And if the market turns around and sells off, I expect that's what they're going to do. Now, Yahoo's doing a little different story. Yahoo's had a pretty good move here, and I'm not quite sure. I think we've got a fourth intermediate wave in here. This got a little funky, and I'm not really sure what it's doing. Could be some kind of diagonal, a lot of waves in here. And so I'm thinking fourth wave ended here, but the thing that caught my eye was this 3-wave move here. And so if we had a fifth wave ending up here, again, if we look at the trading action, let me take it all the way back down. I mean, you look from here, 2009 bottom, 2008 bottom, okay? This looks like some kind of impulse, first wave up, A, B, C, correction wave, strong wave 3, which you usually expect in wave 3. So the real question is this still a part of that wave 3, or is wave 3 end here? And I'm not really sure. So really right now, I'm just watching this to see how this develops. I'm thinking that we may have wave 5 here, and I'm thinking that this is A, B, C, A, and therefore that means if it's a 3-wave A, that means that this is a flat correction, okay, which means this is a B wave. But this is acting stronger than what I expect a B wave to be acting. So no real position. I'll be watching to see if this just turns down or sets up for something else. But Yahoo's acting strong right now, so we'll just continue to monitor it. The last one we're going to take a look at of the 4 that we're rotating through is Yandex. And Yandex, again, this is doing a little bit of a counter trend rally. I really thought it might break down. We had this small head and shoulders right in here, okay? I think you can see that, little shoulder, head, and shoulder. Now, granted, this right shoulder didn't come up the same level as the left one, but it doesn't have to. So we then get the breakdown. It went the minimum move here, or the expected move. Now we got a pullback. And so now it's going to be interesting. I'm watching to see, do we roll over? The other thing that's interesting about what this is doing is, now granted, I just connected the trend line, okay? I don't know. I mean, this has the look and feel of a big head and shoulders, but also head and shoulders is supposed to be head and shoulders of a top of some kind, because it looked like there was a head and shoulders here, okay? Well, that's natural for a big move that it had, okay? Well, this isn't the top of some big move, because here was the bottom, all right? So I'm not sure that this is really a head and shoulders unless it's, unless this thing is getting ready to head down. So we'll just have to watch and see. You measure this on a percentage basis, and that would put Yandex around 4 or 5. So I don't know. It would have to start turning down and breaking down to get underway. And right now it hasn't started it yet. So again, we'll continue watching it. All right. Now, the 2 trade ideas that we had out there. Let's start off with First Solar. First Solar. Okay, so we got in that today. First Solar hit our threshold for entry. It's looking good right now. This looks like a bear flag. Okay, here's your pole, here's your flag, upside down flag, waving in the wind. Okay, now it's breaking down out of here. So the real question is, are we going to get a flagpole like this? Are we going to get three strong down moves? So 2 more like this. If you do, then we're sitting back looking and say, well, how long is this flagpole? And so if I say, well, if it broke from here, let's say, from right up here, let's call it 62. 62 to 50 and a half, let's even call it 51. That's 11 points. You take 11 points from 57, you're talking about 46. So we'll see whether or not we get a flagpole that equals this flagpole, down, and that's what we get to the downside. I'm going to be altering my initial target a little bit, and I'll put that change. I'll be tweaking that a little bit on the Trade Ideas webpage. So right now, this is acting like I was expecting it to act, and we're in the trade. The other one is Twitter, and we got in that today. We got in that when it hit our entry point. And again, the big thing, the reason I talked about, when I talked about this trade idea, I think it was a week ago. And, you know, we're seeing divergence here at the top, okay? Major divergence, bearish divergence on the RSI. We're seeing it all across the board. We're seeing it in here. It doesn't, in DI plus wasn't showing up. The demand index, major divergence. And so, and then the fact that it started to get this head and shoulders look to it, okay? Again, shoulder, head, and a shoulder. So the minimum projection off of this, if this is a head and shoulders, is right down here to 38.25. So earnings came out after the market closed, and you know, Twitter, I can't remember, they met expectations on some things. Their metrics were below in terms of some other things, an outlook, and they pretty much smashed the stock after the market closed. So right now it is 5:15 Central Time, Dallas time, and the stock's been trading for 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. It is currently at 43.39, so it's right around here. It is down 13 cents on the day, but they're measuring it from here, from up here at this prior day. Let me get rid of this. Go back to, I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Go back to my mouse, my cursor. So here was 49.95, so they're measuring it off of that. And so we're right down in here. And again, I had the expected move of here. And it's interesting that the volume right now is 50.7 million. When the market closed at 3 o'clock Central Time, it was 36.5 or 36.6. So we've had about 14 million shares traded in the last 2 hours on a stock that's had a 50-day moving average of 25 million. So very heavy trading, and it's down. My guess, it's kind of interesting that this minimum, that this head and shoulders measurement comes down to here, because look at this gap over here. We closed the gap, okay, at the high on this day is 38.92. So 38.93 closes this gap. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen fairly quickly. If we, you know, get a big down day tomorrow, get a little bit of follow through, we close that gap, that'll be real interesting. Okay. All right, that's a follow-up on the two. I will glance through the rest of the stocks tonight. I have not done that yet, and I'll take a look. If there is some new trade idea, I will put it out on the Trade Ideas webpage, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Thanks for stopping by, and I will be I'm planning to, let's put it that way. That's the plan. Let me look at my spreadsheet real quick. The plan is to talk about Apache, Caterpillar, Valero, and U.S. Steel in an update video tomorrow morning. So again, I will try to get that done, take a look at those before the market opens and get that out and get it posted on the website. All right, that's it for tonight. If you felt like the video was helpful, please share it on social media. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Just click on the little red box and you'll be good to go. And we will see you in the next video.